Tonight, we are cracking open a game where dying, well, that's just the beginning. Welcome to our How to Play explainer for the Haunted House game. So picture this. The front door slams shut behind you. Click. That's the lock. It's final. You and your friends, you're trapped inside this absolutely terrifying haunted house, and there's no obvious way out. Yeah, the premise here is pretty simple and honestly pretty chilling. The game literally tells you you're locked in with all manner of horrors, and your one and only job is to fight your way out. Sounds straightforward, right? But that brings us to the real question, the one this whole game is built around. In a house that is designed from the ground up to scare you to death, what happens when it actually works? And here's the kicker. You know, in most games, when you're out, game over. But in this one, it's just getting started. Okay, so let's dig into how this all works. First things first, as long as you're, still alive, your goal is pretty clear. Keep your wits about you, survive whatever this house throws at you, and get out. So how do you actually do that? Well, the path to winning is really straightforward. You've got to be the first person to get your hands on all 6 of these sacred totems that are hidden all over the house. But of course, the house isn't just going to let you walk out with them. Your most important resource, the thing you have to protect at all costs, is your courage. You can see it tracked right here on your player mat. You start off with a pretty solid 12 points, but every single scare is going to chip away at that. And if it ever drops below 0, well, that's it. You die of fright. Okay, so managing your courage is literally everything, but how do you even lose it? Let's walk through what a turn looks like when you're still one of the living, desperately trying to hang on. Your turn has 4 basic steps. First, you roll this thing called the divinator. Second, that roll forces you through a specific scary door. Third, you deal with whatever's in that room. And finally, and this is the really dangerous part, you check to see if you get scared. Now, what's really cool here is that you don't actually choose where you go. Nope, you roll the divinator, and whatever number comes up, that corresponds to one of the 6 scary doors on your mat. You have to go through that door. The house is in control. And what happens next depends entirely on where that door takes you. You might get lucky and find a totem room, or maybe a door key to unlock some new places. An encourager room is great. It gives you a much-needed courage boost. But a scare room? Yeah, that's where things get bad. All right, so finding stuff and getting courage is all well and good. But you have to remember, the house is always fighting back. So let's talk about how it does that, how it pushes you closer and closer to, well, dying of fright. When you're forced into a scare room, you get haunted. It's simple. You take one of these little haunt tokens and you place it on one of the scare spaces on your player mat. Now, this doesn't actually do anything to you yet. Think of it like a landmine you've just stepped on. It's waiting. And this is when that landmine might go off. At the end of your turn, there's a phase called Get Scared. You look at the number you rolled on the divinator at the very start of your turn. If the space with that number on your mat has a haunt token on it, bam, you lose courage equal to that number. So a roll of 6 could mean losing a whopping 6 courage. It creates this amazing tension with every single roll. You're just praying, please don't be a 4, please don't be a 4. But you're not totally defenseless. This is where the real strategy comes in. Remember those totems you need to win? Well, they're also your best shield. If you have a totem on that same numbered space, you can sacrifice it to completely ignore the courage loss. So you have this agonizing decision every time. Do you use a totem to save your skin, or do you hold on to it to try and win the game? It's a tough, brutal choice. And if you don't have a totem, or you choose not to use it, and your courage drops below 0, that's it. You die. Your player piece is laid down flat. You are now a ghost. But hey, remember what we said at the very beginning? Dying is not the end. Now we get to talk about the afterlife. And trust me, being dead has some pretty awesome and pretty sinister advantages. The second you become a ghost, your entire game plan flips on its head. The living, they're still scrambling around, trying to find those 6 totems to escape. Your new job is to haunt them, to scare them, to do whatever it takes to get enough courage to come back. And you get so much freedom as a ghost. You get 3 actions every turn. For one action, you can just float right through a wall. For another, you can go to a scare room and just pick up a haunt token. And this is the best part. For one action, you can slap that haunt token right onto the mat of a living player who's in the same room as you. You're basically working for the house now. You're one of its minions, and you get paid for your work. Every time you successfully haunt a living player, meaning you give them one of those haunt tokens, you get 3 points of courage back. Pretty sweet deal. And if you can scare your old friends enough to get your courage all the way back up to 12, you're back. You literally burst back into the world of the living. You stand your little player piece back up, you are back in the game, trying to escape just like everyone else. So you end up with this incredible dynamic, right? You've got living players desperately trying to escape and ghost players trying to drag them down into the afterlife with them. And this all leads to one of 2 possible endings: a glorious escape or being consumed forever. So let's lay out the final stakes. It can only end in one of 2 ways. 1, a single player manages to collect all 6 totems. The second they grab that 6th one, they win. Game over. But if the ghosts are just too good at their job and every single living player becomes a ghost, the house wins. And all of you, your souls belong to it. Forever. So that's the big question, isn't it? When you find yourself trapped inside, will you have what it takes, the courage, the strategy, the luck, to gather those totems and make it out? Or will you fall to fear and just become another soul in the house's gruesome collection?